This is really the first art show I've had. It's going to have a number of paintings, some collage work, some mixed media work, and it's mostly projects that I've been working on for a good amount of time and have been finally completed. Let me first say, my work's always around. I always see it. Showing my work this will be the first time I've done it. And I feel like I'm doing it for two reasons. The first is I would really like to get some feedback on what I'm doing. Mostly because it's okay to work on your own and do your own thing for yourself. But to me, it kind of is time for me to get some feedback from people I respect in the field. I mean, I've talked to tons of artists. I've done interviews with lots of artists. And it's interesting to hear their perspectives on their work. I'd like to hear their perspectives on my work. And I also find it interesting to hear how other people perceive what I'm doing. And maybe it'll give me the chance to focus on directions that people like, I guess, or refocus some of my energy on things that are of more value to people. I'm not really sure. I do know I want to do a show. I gave myself a deadline, which caused me to finish a lot of work that I hadn't finished. The majority of pieces in this show are probably completed in the last 2 years. The idea that some of them have sat around for 4 years or 5 years is interesting. And by setting a deadline to actually finish some stuff. So maybe that's one of the main reasons I did the show, is to get some of these projects done. But the main reason I really think is that I wanted to get feedback on what I'm doing. And feedback, negative or positive, is going to be good for me. And feedback from people I don't really know all that well will be even better, because I'd like to hear what people think about the stuff that I do. It's been interesting what people have said already about the work. I just want to hear more and see what kinds of things I might want to try in the future. Sometimes somebody can give you a little hint of direction. I mean, when I was taking art classes in school, critiques were probably 50% of the class, and it was very important to hear what other people thought. So I feel like this is an open critique for work I've been doing for years without any real feedback, and that will be good for me personally as an I hate calling myself an artist, but as a creator of different types of work. In general, my work is probably more graphical than, it's definitely not landscapes, it's definitely not portraits. It's more graphical or design work. I would say that's where my area of interest lies. That's the kind of stuff I like to do. It's focused on balance and design more than anything else. Most of the work I do is, whether it be collage or painting or mixed media now, is more working with design, shape, texture, color for sure. And a lot of what I do is more, if you look around, traditional kind of design work, taken from Native American, indigenous peoples' cultures, and that's the work that seems to interest me, and that's the work I seem to do the most of. So if you look at my work, it doesn't take long to figure out what influences it. It doesn't take long to figure out what the design comes from or the thought process comes from. And it's definitely my own style of doing it. I work with a lot of color, although I say a lot of color, but I try to limit my palette to four main colors per image. I generally restrict myself to very graphic shape, very hard design, very restricted space. I work with balance, texture. Texture is a big thing. I've been really, in the later years of my work, been really working with texture and how to get that image quality or those images to leap from the canvas. I've also been exploring other materials that are more fun to work on, more positive. Almost all the work is acrylic. In fact, all of it is acrylic work. And I'm learning a lot about mediums and the materials that you can work with. Basically, you're working with a form of plastic. So with acrylic, there's a lot of exploration you can do, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. Biggest thing I'd say about my work is, again, it's more of a primitive indigenous kind of design work, though it is starting to break out of that a little bit. My newer pieces tend to be a little more modernistic, I guess, in terms of approach. I'm still trying to use basic principles of original indigenous design, but I'm finding myself starting to stretch that a little bit. You'll recognize when you come in and start to look at things, you'll start to see what influences me, and I don't know why that influence is there. I mean, it's been intriguing to me all my life, and it's still intriguing to this day. I mean, when you start to study Navajo blanket making or indigenous symbols or shapes or design, you really can get into this whole wormhole of information that just is mind-boggling, that these designs are more than just shapes. There's a lot more to it than that. And I respect that, and I try to respect that in my work, because I don't want to look like I'm borrowing from culture that isn't traditionally mine. I want to show respect to that culture with my work. And I think that's probably one of the more important things to remember when you're looking at it. I'm not assimilating culture. I'm trying to show respect to that culture that I highly respect. The balance of nature, the balance of earth, the balance of living on the earth is very important to me, not only in my life, but also in the work that I do. It often takes me a very long time to do a piece. Some of these pieces have been in process for 4 or 5 years. I don't spend all my time doing art. I have other forms of creativity that I do. So this is kind of a background piece for my life, but it's sort of, as I get older, been moving more into the foreground. I like to spend a lot of time just quietly making art, and I use the word art hesitantly. I even see it in my own conversation. To me, an artist is somebody who has something to say and creates this whole abstract idea, and that's probably not right. But I can paint very well. I think I can collage very well, and I can do mixed media stuff pretty well. But I don't really consider myself like a mainstream artist yet. Maybe I'll be there someday, maybe I won't. I don't know. My major work has always been video or multimedia, and mixed media, which is kind of different, is evolving for me in my artwork. And there's 3 pieces that I've done over the past year that are going to be in this show that I think have opened my eyes and vision to a different methodology of doing things. So it'll be interesting to see what people think. This will be a good experience for me, and I hope people come by and see it. Please, if you can't make the openings or the Meet the Artist nights, drop in the station, take a look at it, leave me a note, let me know what you think. It's first time I've really done a show of what I do as what I call art, my artistic side. So I hope you enjoy it.